everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalist videos. Today's video is going to be how I use minimalism to study effectively. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's get it, let's go! Woo! I know that from my analytics, most of my viewers are like 25 plus, so I don't really know how much this video is going to help. But I mean, I think you can kind of implement this too in terms of like applying this to your productivity or using this at work. So yeah, without further ado, let's just start talking about how I use minimalism to study effectively. Okay, so in terms of, the first thing is highlighters. So this one is actually kind of counterintuitive. Before I used to only use one highlighter and I thought that like that was good enough, but I actually use a lot more highlighters. I know that's kind of reverse of what minimalism is. It'd be like just use the one highlighter, but I think that if you have like one or two colors, it kind of helps emphasize what's really important, as opposed to when I used to have one colored highlighter and I just used to highlight everything in a maximalist way. Now instead what I do is I use minimalism to designate two highlighters and I just highlight what's really important, and I assign significance to each highlighter. So for example, say like I have two highlighters. I know these are not highlighters, but just pretend. The yellow one might be for really key important things that the professor has said is important, and then maybe I'll use like the red highlighter and I'll just use that to highlight things that I think might be important or I think is the key point of what I've just read. So when I go back, I kind of have an idea of what to focus on, and I don't have to go back and read like the bulk of the text. So that's kind of how I use minimalism to help my studying more effectively, is use one or two highlighters and designate value to it or meaning, as opposed to the one yellow highlighter and just highlighting. You go back and like I used to do that, and I'd go back and I didn't even know what was important because I'd see like so much yellow highlight and I'd be like, what's important? Is it all important? All right, the next thing, using a laptop. So this one is actually was more effective when I was in university than it is in med school. I think it's a little bit different, but what I mean is using a laptop. That was really good when I used to take notes off the computer, like off the slides, and then like I just type it up, and then the prof would give you the slides on the USB, you put it in there, and all the files and everything was on the computer. And I think like that's really good because you didn't have to haul around a bunch of notebooks or textbooks. You just have it all on your laptop, and like that's really like, you know, streamlining everything, and it's like really good for like, it's like a really minimalistic way of studying if you're into like that kind of techie. I know like some people prefer by hand, and actually that's the way that I study right now in medical school, but that's because the school that I go to is kind of old school, so it's a lot more like book and pen and note-taking, so I'm kind of like in that format. And also, the reason that the laptop was really practical before was because I used to commute a lot, so going to class and then going back home, I didn't have to haul all of that. But like now, I live on dorm, so I just go literally across the street to class, so it's not such a big deal to carry around a book. So yeah, and the reason that we use books more now is because like the prof will like literally tell you what page and memorize like what text, so it's like a little bit different. But I think if you're like still just like in regular undergrad, using a laptop is a really good, effective and minimalistic way to study. Okay, the next way I use minimalism. When I'm in class, pay attention in class. So this is really important. You can be a maximalist and you can be on your phone, you can be checking emails, you can be doing da-da-da, blah, blah. But what I think that you should do is when you're in class, is more time effective and more minimalistic. Just focus on the one task at hand, which is pay attention to the lecture. Try to take as much notes as you can, because that's going to streamline everything. When you go back to review is going to be really fast. You're not learning it for the first time. You really are just genuinely reviewing. So I think that if you want to, this is something that I sometimes struggle with. Sometimes I don't want to pay attention and I just go on my phone, but if you can, I really highly suggest using that technique. When I do pay attention in class, studying is definitely much more enjoyable. All right, the next thing that I do is, review. So this is really important in terms of minimalism. Less is more. So if you review often, when the final crunch time comes for exam time, you're not going to have to study as hard, so there's going to be less is more. So if you study in small segments, when the exam time comes, you don't have to do this heavy duty intense, crammage of material. It'll be like you have your refined points, you know what's good, you know what's important, you just go back and you go bam 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 bam, and it's very minimalistic, as opposed to, yeah, I'm just gonna let it all pile up, and then you have like this huge pile of things you don't even know what's important. So it's really important to review a little bit as you go along in the course. Okay, the next thing that I use minimalism for, to study, is drinking tea or water. Before, I used to drink sugary drinks all the time, put milk in it, and I would study and have that, and then I'd finish drinking it, and I'd still have, like, I don't know, sugar makes you want more sugar, so I'd go and get more, and it was just like this vicious cycle of me getting fat and drinking and being thirsty. But now what I do is instead, I drink a little bit of, I just drink like straight tea, like no milk, no sugar, or just plain water, and that, having decluttered, reduced, my sugar and my milk and my caloric intake has definitely helped me be more focused and more regimented when I study. When I used to drink the milk and the sugar, I felt like my mind was always clouded and the material never really stuck as much as it did when I drank just tea or water. So I don't know, I think it's like, it's clean fuel and keeps you hydrated for when you study. So if you want to implement that. The next thing that I also do is taking time off. So as much as it is great to study all the time, you want to be minimal in the sense that you don't want to go so ham on studying all the time and like hard work and no play. That will definitely burn you out. So what I do is I designate Friday evenings. I don't care how much stuff I need to do. Friday evenings is my time to do nothing. Like not video edit, not study, not do anything at all. I just go out and I have fun and I do like lazy shit. Like I sit at a cafe with my friends and we just talk about useless stuff, and you need that sometimes. You really do need to have like your downtime. And then when I go back to like my Saturday, my Sunday, and my weekdays, it's grind time. It's go time, baby. So I think it's really good to be minimalistic in the sense that you can't go ham the entire week. You need to have less is more. You need to have some days where you don't do anything. So I think that's important. Okay, the next thing is planning ahead. So I think that this is really good. If you plan ahead, you just plan once, and then it's like, so this is being minimal. You just plan your 1, 2, 3, and then the rest of what you need to do will fall into place. But if you don't have a structure, you end up doing so much more because you don't even know what the hell you're doing. So when I have a structure, I'm very efficient and very precise, and I do what I need to do, and I know what I need to do, and time-wise, it's much more effective. So I think in terms of studying, if you plan, okay, I'm going to study this, I'm going to study this day, I'm going to study this, like this and this, like say, for example, Monday is math and science, and then Tuesday is religion and art. You know what you're doing, say, as opposed to on Monday you didn't plan, so you just went ham on art, and then you realize, oh god, I still need to do all the other things, so then you go ham on that too, and then come Tuesday you don't know what to do because you did most of it. So and so then you procrastinate when maybe you should have done a bit more, like, you know what I mean? So when you plan it, you space it out, and it's more minimalistic. It's each day is a little bit, as opposed to one day going ham, and it's too much. So yeah. Okay, so I think this, in the sense of minimalism, I will end my video here. If you want to check out more of my minimalist videos or support my channel, all that I ask is that you guys subscribe. That would mean so much to me. If you hit the subscribe button, you will definitely be helping support my channel and bringing me one step closer to getting my channel monetized. Oh my gosh, I struggled there with that word. Yeah, help my channel get monetized, because that helps a sister out. So anyway, I will catch you guys in my next video. As always, keep hissing, my little cobras. Bye.